up to 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 equal just 2. Equal 4 lips. You understand what I'm saying? So that's all that was really addressed. That is a good question to ask. Has the tables been turned? Is she turned on? Does she explore that now more often than not? Because it doesn't seem as if she did, or maybe you don't want to admit that part, or because that would really just say maybe your dick is just trash, like Lil Kim said in the song. Like, you know what I mean? You was trash. But that is a possibility. But then again, I'm looking at it, maybe she likes the version of him when there's another woman involved, because maybe he shine like new money when there's other punani in the room. Or maybe he just, 15 years, Oh, and we back over here on Facebook. That's what I like to see. See what I'm saying? Technology. All you got to do is hit a little reset button, let that little circle do its thing for a quick second, and boo, you back on both sides. So you to catch people back up over here in Facebook land, we talking about this husband who's got a wife who's enjoying more sex when there's a woman involved than it is just with him. They're in the swingers lifestyle, but he's wondering, is he outgrown it? Is he all swung out? Or is it the fact that she liking women now? So we talked about all these things. What'd you say, MVP Speak? She said she found something she liked better. She said, it's okay. And it is okay. She may like it better. That's what I'm saying. She may enjoy the lip lock better. Like McFadden said, it may be a phase. And then Miss Contreras asked, is it ever two men? You said, and I got, my other peanut gallery say all women like women. Miss Contreras put up the emojis, the eggplant and the turd emoji. I mean, like, your dick is the trash. It's garbage. That may be the situation. That's the peanut gallery from the women that I'm getting out here. The fellas, chime in, fellas. What y'all think the situation may be? You know what I mean? What'd you say? His security is in jeopardy. Yeah, it is. It's in jeopardy. There is some jeopardy. Some jeopardy going on. But that shared experience in the beginning, it strengthened their relationship or their bond over the years, is what I believe. But, however, the pandemic brought about a twist. There was a twist. There was some ish in the game. Would you say, Dakari, swing for the fences? What you mean by that, Dak? Elaborate a little bit more, because what I got from that statement is you saying that swing for the fences, that means he need to go out and do some more swinging himself. Let me know if that's what you're saying. Would you say, I personally think she's getting more enjoyment with women. And I'm getting that out of that too. I'm getting she loving the lip lock. But again, I always have to give precedent to both sides. Like, she may have flipped the switch. You know what I'm saying? Duh. Somebody like, duh. Hello, McFly. But then my question goes is this: is she experiencing sex without you? That's where, because I don't think she's doing that. Because I think she's making sure that it's a woman there because she really loves you, and she's trying to hold on to this decade and a half of love and relationship because you really helped nourish her in this lifestyle. But she want to hold on to that marriage, or maybe she don't want to lose that alimony. I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? Maybe you make good bread. I don't know about all that. Whatever the case may be, if she's only doing it with you in the room or you there, or I'm just thinking like maybe it's a situation where like I said before, either she likes that version of you more, or maybe like everybody else been saying, she about to switch teams. But it is something about it that there's a bond still there that's got y'all to the point where y'all have separated or broken up, right? You ended up kind of in a lockdown with friends, and that puts you in a pickle. The dynamic shifted, particularly, between your wife and the other woman. So that's where you got to go back again. What I said before, reassess things, right? Reassess, see how we got to where we got to. Pick the dominoes back up, set them back up, and see how they fail. See how they fail, and you may get a better understanding of why they're falling that way or what caused them to fall that way. It's a difference. Difference between something being causal and something being a choice. What you say, Miss Contreras said, I think she's out there now even without him. Woo! Then that light bulb kicked on a little bit, but what saved it for me is the sincerity in which you wrote the letter saying that, now she, every now and then. So it lets me know that y'all still smashing on y'all own. So y'all still getting it in on y'all own solo without no swinging going on. So that lets me help you furthermore makes me want you to reassess, like, okay, like, what is it like when it's just me and her? Am I just going through the motions? Am I dicking her down? You know what I mean? You got to ask these questions. What up, Cali girl? You know what I'm saying? You got to ask these questions. Ask them. You know, in order to get to the bottom line of things, fellas, especially us, we never want to face the truth head on. So when we face ourselves, when that man in the mirror, when that man in the mirror looks at you and says, ask you them questions like, look, man, are you giving her that good D? Or are you out there giving her that, you know, D grade D? You know, feel what I'm saying? Like, are you out there knocking it out the box? Or are you out there really laying it down and like you think you are in your mind? Or are you lacking in that area? Ask yourselves these serious questions. That's reassessing the sex life you have going on with your wife. Because again, like you said, y'all been together 15 years and in the swinging lifestyle for 15 years. So that bond is solidified. That bond is locked in. You know, and that is a good question, Miss Contreras. Has he had this conversation with her? That's what I need, you know, because I think he came to me first, you know, because this one came fresh, hot off the presses. Sometimes I pull out letters that I had in the archives for a week or two or something that just fit going along with what's going on in the world. This one came hot off the presses 2 days ago. And I said, I'm addressing this one ASAP, just because he was, you know, he was like, hey, he put in all caps in the subject line. All swung out. So, you know, I really wanted to address this when it's hot off the presses. So that is a good question. Has he had this conversation with his wife? Because you're going to have to at some point, not just with me, and see how I'm, you know, helping you or how the peanut gallery out here is helping you. Like, you got to really have this conversation with her, you know? You know, and again, it has to be that open communication. That's an extremely crucial step. You know, what up, C-Dot? That's an extremely crucial step to, you got to have open communication, right? Because the concern is totally valid. You feeling like you sidelined. You feel like you on the sideline just sitting there twiddling your thumbs in your own marriage, and that's something that needs to be addressed, right? You need to address it. So again, that communication has to come into play, right? You know, while many things in the lifestyle may seem like, wow, this is a dream. You know, some people that on the outside be like, what is wrong with dude? You know, it's not about the external excitement anymore. Now it's something that's inside you that needs to be addressed. You know what I mean? It's the connection with your partner that needs to be addressed, because it seems as if the connection is dissipating. It's starting to thin out. You know? Would you say you feel like she's starting to feel fulfillment now with another woman in the room? And that is true. Like, and when people find something that's good and that works for them, people stick with it. So again, that when you have this conversation with her, it has to be open and honest. You got to ask her, hey, babe, you like sex with me better when it's, you got to ask that brutal question and be prepared to receive the answer, because, you know, they said on Love Jones, never ask a question you don't want to know the answer to. In this instance, you want to know the answer. So you're asking this question, but you got to ready yourself to receive the answer to it. You have to ready yourself now. And what I mean by that is you got to be like, okay, if she hits me back like, no, it's just more like, you know, I'm just trying to see where this goes, or I like the better version of you. You know, when that's happening, I'm glad you asked this question. What's up, Sterling Armstrong? You know, if she hits you with that, you know, you got to be ready for that. Or you got to be ready for that gut punch. Like, yeah, actually, I like Nani better than I like that swipe. What up, K to the 33? If she like kitty cat more than she like your doggy style, then you got to be ready to receive that answer as well. You know, that is a very, 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 you say exactly, all aces on the table. And it's not about, your question, are we talking about polygamy? No, we're talking about a swinger's lifestyle, to where the woman wants to make sure that there's a woman involved in the situation more often than not. So that, just to answer your question, Cali girl, T-Bell. That's where we are with that one. So again, when you got to be open and communicative with your wife, ask these questions without being accusatory. You know what I mean? In my therapy session today, I learned these similar approaches. It's crazy how the universe and the world bring things full circle. That's why I love my name being 360, because I ride that wave full circle, right? So I learned that today. You know, we say it all the time. It's not the message, it's the delivery. But you got to be open and honest without pointing a finger. Because you know what I say? When you point the finger at somebody, 3 fingers point back at you for me, myself, and I. That's what that means. What'd you say, McFadden? Is the swung out just because of her actions, or is it something with him? We do get older and things change physically. And that's true. This is true. Things change physically. You know, your body looks different. Your body works different, you know? So you got to understand, like, that's what I said. You got to ask these tough questions and be open to talk about these tough questions and be ready to receive these tough answers. You can't expect to throw a fastball and a softball come back at you. Nah, dog. Nah, you got to be ready to receive. You get what you give. You throw that boomerang fast, that bitch coming back just as fast. With more heat on it, because it's coming down on you. You know, so ask these questions. The core issue seems to be that your wife's preferences, you know, and the desires have shifted. You know what I mean? It's affecting your sense of what intimacy and connection are between y'all. That is a big issue, so you must address it. You're feeling like your only desirable needs are with another woman are involved, right? So that can lead to feelings of inadequacy. And you know how men feel if we feel inadequate. Oh, that's the end of the world. I talked to y'all weeks ago about this fragile Fabergé egg called the male ego. You know? And that makes you feel unappreciated, makes you feel less than. Would you say maybe her body is changing too and feels more comfortable with the female? That's another thing. Anatomy changes, desires change, but without having the open and honest conversation about figuring out what's changing, then you'll never get to the bottom of it. You know, sit down with your wife and express how you're feeling without accusing her or blaming her, right? You know, use I statements like, I feel like a third wheel when you only engage sexually when another woman is present. You know, use I statements. That helps soften the blow to something, because she may not even be aware that you feel this way. So to come at her, letting her know that you feel this way while accusing her will definitely lead to her like on the defense, or her feeling like she got a cower, you know, because that's too surprise. That's double haymaker. Exactly. The penetration may not feel the same to her. Nail on the head there, Miss Contreras. That's what I'm saying. She may have different desires. Her body may not. Then again, she may like the penetration. She may want to get penetrated, just not by you. That's what you got. You know, maybe, you know, get you some toys. You know, I always tell every household that's sexually active should have some toys in the house. To be honest, you should. What'd you say over here, James Springer? Bruh, if anybody should have a podcast, it most definitely should be you. Big up. Thank you, James Springer. I appreciate you. Him and his brother Chauncey, 2 of my homeboys from down there in Nashville. That's what I'm talking about. But that's what I'm saying. The penetration may not feel the same to her, but then again, it may not be penetration in itself. It may be your performance that may not be what she's looking for. Again, reassess. Find out where the climaxes are still coming from. You know, you have to ask yourselves these questions, like try to understand her perspective. Once you ask and you talk about these things, like be receptive to her perspective. You know, real spit. Like you have to really be like, try to understand where she's coming from. Like McFadden said earlier, is this a phase she's going through? Is she exploring her own sexuality more deeply? You know, her increased interest in female-on-female action had to come from somewhere. It could be a natural evolution for her. We don't know. It could have been something that she kept bottled up. And the reason why you met her at a lifestyle party is she may have been looking for that. But your charm may have just won her over at that time 15 years ago. And she wanted to stay as a staple to her family. You could have been her bra. Like some people are people's beards. What's going on, Aaliyah Janae, Nisi Poo in the building? You know what I mean? So, like, you got to understand these things. Like, you know, it's important to see where the balance can come from. Because again, she has a perspective on this as well, but you just haven't discussed it. So you may not have an idea of what her perspective of it all may be. You know, again, like we say, we've had multiple people say maybe she's just enjoying the pleasure of a woman more now. Or maybe it may be something she's going through. Maybe it may be something she's switched to. You know, he definitely needs to ask the questions to her. Oh, he definitely need to ask her. But I'm glad he came to us, you know, me and my fellow, you know, constituents out here helping the world, you know, navigate through their situations. I'm glad he came to us because it may give him a different perspective on how to deliver the message. Because again, we don't want him to go in there being accusatory, because nobody wants to be on the defense. That's why we all get defensive. Nobody wants to be on, you know, backing up in a conversation, pushed against the wall, metaphorically and or physically. We all want to have a chance to have a dog in the fight, meaning we want to be treated equally, to be heard and to be able to hear other people. If we're going to hear people out, we want them to hear us out as well. So I'm glad he came to us, you know, because in that instance, maybe he and her can find, what's up, City Ballers, D in the building. Maybe he and her can find some common ground, right? They can look for solutions that work for both of them. You'd be like, 360, what do you mean by that? You know, what can work for both of them if she just want to be with women? Again, don't he still want to be with women? And then again, maybe he's asking the question like, maybe if I want to be with a guy, you know what I mean? You know, I don't know what the questions in his head may be. I don't know what he may be thinking. Maybe he feels left out because he can't do the same thing she does. It's so many questions that could be bouncing through people's head. What'd you say, Ms. McFadden? You say she may not know that there's anything wrong with her actions. Exactly. She won't know until somebody asks her. It's definitely his feelings are hurt, so he needs to be sit down and talk to her. And that's a good one, Ms. Contreras. And like you say, he's probably navigating away from the lifestyle. And since the marriage is open sexually, maybe she should, and maybe she thought you would like it. That's what I'm saying. You have to ask these questions. And these are women shooting these statements to you. So it's coming from their perspective. So they've actually considered what you're talking about, you know. So these are people telling you maybe she thought you would like it. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing. What you say, Cali girl T Bell. You say, I'm just glad that this is real. You know how some people lie to themselves or are quiet. That's true. People lie to themselves like, oh no, it's all good. She all right. You know, or she gone the other way. So now I need to go out here and do my own thing. No, I'm glad he came to us and wanted to put on the kid gloves with it so he can find ways to address the situation. You know, again, what we talk about, open communication. Talk to her honestly about how you feel without pointing the finger, right? And without pointing that finger, it may give you a better understanding of her perspective. That was our second point. Try to find some common ground, you know? And what I mean by that is maybe you set aside certain times that are just for you and her, where y'all can try to intimately connect without anybody else being involved. That's always a good thing, like date night, but sex night, you know. Don't make it so structured to where it's like we're going to put it on the calendar. But, you know, this can help reaffirm your bond to reassure that, you know, both of y'all needs are being met. Because, you know, apparently in the equation, you never said anything about you're not satisfied. You just said you're questioning what her intent behind it all is. So, you know what I mean? So that's a good way to look at it. Like, you got to be able to say, like, okay, we find this common ground, set this time up, you know, set these sexual encounters up to where, you know, we don't have to have anybody else's involved. Because, again, that can help reassure that your bond is solidified. You know, exactly. And that's another good question, because people don't want other people to know that they experiencing this type of discomfort. So it's good that they're able to talk to other people about it. So, but then you can be able to talk to your partner about it, because, again, she may not know that you are feeling pain or you are feeling uncomfortable behind this, you know? And after that, you know what I mean? That'll help kind of mediate any type of discussions that you may have in the future if you put it all on the table. After you do all that, the most important thing, I think, would you say, just like with any relationship, you always need to refresh each other's needs. And and if so, desires. This is true. Exactly. That was my next statement. You have to reassess the boundaries. In the beginning, I told you to reassess, situations leading up to where you are now. Now you got to go into the fact of like, what are our boundaries now that we know each other feels this way? What are our new boundaries within this swinging lifestyle? Are we going to stay in this swinging lifestyle? Because it seems like one partner does enjoy it still, and the other partner may be just questioning it at the moment. Again, or maybe growing out of it, or maybe feeling left out of it. That's, again, where the reassessment comes in. You have to reassess each other's needs and desires and reassess the boundaries in which you can take care of those things, in which the parameters y'all willing to be able to dance within, like last week we talked about how, what are your boundaries in regards to when you're apart from one another? Yeah, that's true, Ms. Contreras. I feel he may be feeling a little bit insecure now, but you don't have to have the insecurities anymore if you go into it with a sense of understanding or wanting to understanding. Exactly. Just like mandatory annual training. Yeah, you do. You have to. Like, I suggest people, get some Zen time with a person, at least at the minimum, at the most every 6 months. I would say every 90 days you want to kind of like, get some time where it's just y'all and y'all can discuss how things have been feeling. Because 90 days, if 90 days, you can create a whole new habit. So if you reassess these things every 90 days, then, it may be a little too tedious for people, but I say every 6 months. That way, if a new habit has been formed, you got a chance to either adjust, deal with, or move accordingly in regards to that habit. So you got to go back all the time and dive in to see where it is that you're enjoying the relationship and to see where they're enjoying the relationship, and on the adverse side of that, where things aren't connecting the same as they were before. You have to be willing to accept the fact that things aren't perfect. We create this dynamic, or we create this image in our mind to where it's like, okay, as long as I do this, things will go this way. Only certainty in that regard is math. That's the only science that does not change, and that's math. And even with that, they've introduced variables. Think about that. You say she may like more of the foreplay now as she's getting older. She may not. What's up, Denver Brigham? She may like more of the foreplay now. She may like again, like I said before, she may appreciate the approach of that woman more because it makes you feel different or makes you perform differently when that woman or a woman is involved. Speaking from, vicarious living and through other people, and speaking through, my colorful life I've lived, you understand that there's times that if you being watched and you're an exhibitionist, you're going to get down even better. Promise you. If you like the love of more than one partner, if it's more than one partner, your sex is going to be way better every time. So you got to reassess that. You got to reassess that. The topic is Denver that we talking about. So let's go back to recap. So we got a husband that wrote a letter in. Him and his wife been married 15 years. They in the swingers life. They met in the swingers life, and now she won't have sex with him as often as he likes unless there's a woman involved. So we asked this question like, is he tripping, or does he think that? Do we think that that his wife is going the other direction? And we talked about a whole bunch of stuff. Like I'm saying now, you must reassess the situation. You got to feel what she's feeling now opposed to what she was feeling in the beginning. You have to feel what you're feeling now, but opposed to what you were feeling in the beginning. People retire from being an athlete in certain sports because they can't perform the same way anymore. But that doesn't stop them from being an athlete altogether. Michael Jordan may have put down the basketball, but you'll find him on the golf course. You understand what I'm saying? Like, these are the understandings. You may have been the GOAT at one time or another in that arena, but now you need to learn how to coexist in that arena. Tiger Woods ain't won the Masters, and I don't know how. Well, he won the Masters maybe like 24-15. I take that back. But that don't mean he don't still sign up for the tournaments. You still got to get in there to play. You know? She like, again, she may like the energy from the group sex. That is a great point, Denver. She may like the energy from that. Like we said before, like she may like the version of him when the group is when they're involved in a group. But again, you have to be willing to ask the tough questions, not only of her, again, without being accusatory, but of yourself. You heard Michael Jackson. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Have you ever looked yourself in the eyes in the mirror, like real spit, and asked a tough ass question? If you haven't, then you've never made yourself cry for real. Because those tears are the most cleansing that you ever gonna get. Ever. Because you gave them to you, and it was out of a genuine space. You know what I'm saying? What you say? Where's she at? Yeah. She ain't for you, then. She want another female. You better get one of your girls. But you know. But I don't think that she's completely switched teams. I just believe that there's something in her mind right now where the enjoyment is greater, or there's enjoyment at all when there's another woman in the equation. So I cannot stress to you enough, all swung out, to make sure, bruh, that you go back and play back in your head like, am I showing out more when it's another female there? Am I really, am I being the GOAT in this thing? Or am I half-assing it when it's just me and her? Am I giving, the situation a whole hour's worth of love, but when it's just me and her, we can get it in 2 commercial breaks? Ask yourself these questions. They tough to answer. Right, Miss Contreras, that's what I said. Maybe she likes the tenderness of her female companions. Maybe she just enjoys that, and it may be just now, or it may be for good. And like I said before, it may have been in her before. So now that allows you to understand, once you have this conversation with her, once we go back and do the things I talked about, open communication without being accusatory, try to understand her perspective, find a common ground to where y'all both can meet in the middle and this can work out for everybody involved. Once you've done all those things, what I always say, seek professional help. If what's going on, Miss Mahogany? Seek some professional help. Get an objective perspective. Conversations are tough when you're not making any progress. If you're not getting anywhere with those first 3 steps that I told you about, with the open communication, understand their perspective, and finding common ground, then, seek professional help. Find a therapist. Preferably somebody with, experience with non-traditional relationships. Exactly, Miss Contreras. Back to the basics. Communication. You got to be willing to talk it out. Oh, Wes, I talk it out. You have to be willing to do those things. What's up? I am the one. You have to be willing to say, hey, babe, let's talk. I've got, and again, use those I statements. I can't express that enough, because when you talk about you in the situation while asking a question how they feel in the situation, they have a better understanding on how to respond because they know how you feel about it. Use things like, I feel like a third wheel when we only engage with other women. Only then do you feel like a third wheel, because you're expressing that to her. You don't feel like a third wheel when it's just y'all two, But let her know that you feel like a third wheel when, and only when, there's another woman involved in the equation. Use the I statements. I feel like. Not like I feel that you. This is how I feel when. Because you don't want to go in pointing that finger, right? Because again, when you go in with that, approach, it gives you a chance to receive her perspective and try to understand it. Try to swallow that pill and see what it does. The red pill, the blue pill. You in the matrix already. See what the pill does to you. Try her perspective on for size. Again, her increased interest with female action came from somewhere. Was it buried all this time? Was it created once y'all had a chance to really get down during the pandemic when y'all were trapped in the house, as you say, with y'all friends who were also a part of the lifestyle? Was it because she feels like you give her more of what she's looking for after you've seen her with a woman? Maybe you internally are jealous and you want to show her that you can treat her better than a woman can by maybe you're more tender with her when there's another woman involved. Again, I cannot stress to you enough to go back and reassess how the dominoes fell. What got y'all there? You gave me bits and pieces of it by saying that y'all got trapped in the house, like y'all met in the lifestyle during both of y'all exploratory phases, and you liked how she operated in each of the rooms. She liked how you operated, because y'all still together a decade and a half later. So it's not like this is a new relationship that's just fizzled out. Nah. Y'all been through it. 15 years ago, that was 2009. So y'all been through it since the Obama administration. Exactly. This is true too, Mr. Contreras. He needs to figure out what he really wants now. Like, not like right now, but as in what you want out of your relationship at this phase of your life. What do you want now? You need to figure that out. And if it's not the lifestyle, that's another conversation you need to have. If it is the lifestyle still, then at what pace? In what direction? And again, after you seek professional help, after you found common ground, after you've understood her perspective, after you open communication, after you've reassessed those boundaries, then you're somewhere where you can kind of get to where you're trying to go. You got a little bit more clarity involved, right? It's clear that your relationship has a strong foundation already because it started out in a way that y'all have thrived for a decade and a half. Yes, you have to figure out exactly, Mr. Contreras. He has to figure out his needs/wants as well as her needs/wants. And the only way to do that is by openly communicating with one another. And you know what I always say, when you communicate, the only way to do it is to be actively communicating by not saying a word while you're listening, and then hoping that you get allowed that same, luxury. Listen with the intent of receiving what they have to say, not with the intent of responding to what they have to say. You got to get ready to receive. It might be a blow to the chest. Be aware of that. It might be a gut punch. It may be a slap in the face. Whatever you feel like is the most painful thing you can go through from your partner. But you have to figure out where to go from there. Where do we go from here right now? I'm going a little old school on y'all, but still, you have to reassess the situation and find out where that boat is floating to. Where y'all going from here? Again, like I say, it's clear that y'all relationship has a strong foundation, given the longevity of your mutual experiences, right? But with open communication and willingness to understand each other's evolving needs. That was the jam, Amber. Each other's evolving needs. You can navigate through all of these rocky terrain or choppy waters or wherever y'all at together. Remember, you got to remember that y'all are not just partners in the lifestyle, but y'all partners in life. And be prepared if they're sailing in different ways. That's true too. If y'all are headed in different directions, which I hope y'all not, because I hope y'all can stick it out. You know, because it seemed based off your page, it seems like y'all happy, man. Y'all a beautiful couple. Beautiful couple, you know? And I hope that y'all can navigate through this, you know? And I just remember that, again, y'all not just partners in this lifestyle. Y'all are partners in life. You know, your feelings are valid. Her feelings are valid. And addressing them head on is a better way to ensure that your relationship can continue to thrive. You know, nobody ever wants to go head on with the most difficult situations, but you have to be willing to do that if you want your relationship to continue to thrive, okay? Again, remember that both people's feelings are valid. So even if you find out in that she's enjoying your sex more when it's a woman around, or she's feeling like your sex ain't good anymore, or like some of the ladies said on here, like it may be trash, you know, her feelings are valid. Find out how you can, you know, get that back on the same page with each other, okay? But, you know, that's it for today's episode of Holla at the Homie, man. I appreciate y'all, as always, for tuning in and tapping in. If you got questions or advice, don't hesitate to reach out at HOLLAATTHAHOMIE@gmail.com, you know, and at any time. But until next time, you know, I appreciate y'all. Until next time, be good to yourselves and be good to each other. I've been 360 the Poet.
Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot702.5fm.com.